Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh Bashem Nabashai, Bahasham, Rekah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than never. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that look like those heathen nations. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, coming at you with another lesson. And this will be lesson number 2 for my Day of Atonement videos. And hopefully I can get this up on a channel that I've actually been having problems with. I actually faced a similar issue that Miss Candace Owens is facing right now. She's been demonetized, and she's been called, the anti-words. The Antisemantics label has been thrown upon her for speaking the truth, which should be a huge red flag. It's just like people have to hide behind these trigger words that they hide behind. It's just like every time inkling of truth or evidence comes out about anything, they hide behind the word conspiracy, or they hide behind the word anti-semantics, or anti-Semitic whenever you bring out any facts or question the forced narrative that usually is not supported by facts that they push. All right, if you bring that into light, you would definitely get labeled, okay, and attacked. So without any further ado, let's just watch this guy here that I'm circling put his foot in his mouth and let the shameful spewing be upon himself. Here we go.
Let's remember, Pierce, your parents are part of the greatest generation. Winston Churchill was told by the Americans, don't bomb German cities, Hamburg, Dresden, etc. at night. You can't see what you're bombing. Do what we Americans have, which is precision daytime bombing. And Churchill said, no, my pilots are more important. We need the RAF.
All right.
And he flat.
So let's pause it right there. All right. As he says, and they flattened Dresden, I believe, which was a German city full of non-combatants. But this is Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. See, the spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy. And the prophecies, are flying off the pages of the Bible. Because, the controversy of Zion is a major thing in the end day prophecies. And all the evidence pointing to the falsehoods and the events that gave these powers, like today is 9/11. So, the event that took place, and the moment you actually bring in real science, okay, for an example, how nothing building nothing can fall in its own footprint, and especially when you have probably hundreds of tons, that jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to even weaken UL laboratory grade steel. Okay, and nothing falls in its footprints, and there's no way that hundreds of tons of concrete and metal file cabinets could just be turned to dust. All right, there would have been about 5 stories of concrete and metal cabinets that would have, if things happened the way that that it was portrayed, you would have had 50 to 60,000 people die that day. All right, with those buildings coming down the way that they did. So clearly there's some things that haven't been shared. All right, and what I just said is just simple, just basic science, truth. All right, true science, not pseudoscience. All right, it makes no sense. Those buildings were full of steel file cabinets. They could have been, who knows, could have been anywhere up to 5,000 to 6,000 gigantic, 500-600 pound steel cabinets full of, And so all that metal and all that concrete just turned to dust. Where did it go to? All right. And it came down in his own footprint. Yeah. All right. But this is Revelation 19:10. And it reads, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, and have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy." So the prophecies of what's to happen. And one of the main prophecies in these last days is the controversy of Zion and the imposters that have claimed the heritage of Zion being called out and exposed. All right. And that has actually happened. But you have to understand, these people, these very people who are being called out are the people in power. And they're able to demonetize and do all sorts of things whenever you point out who they are. Instead of them, but that's just the way they're going to be that way until the Lord comes and puts them down. It's, point blank period. They can give a fuck about your proof, your evidence. All right. Even in their courtrooms. If you beat them in court, they'll just stall and hold. And I am a victim of it. All right. I'm in fucking legal limbo. I've never seen anything like this. They literally have me in legal limbo. The judge refuses to rule because if she rules, I win. There's no way of there's no way of getting around the evidence that I presented. And it's the same thing here with us, with these scriptures, with these prophecies. We're in the same thing. So, and what do they scream? Well, they come scream, to say that, that you're not it and you're the real, that's a conspiracy. You know what? I'm just going to slap you in the face with this anti-semantics right here. And that's what they do.
German city, and he is considered today the greatest British statesman of the 20th century because he felt he had.
By the way,
love the smile on Candace's face when he said that. So one thing I have to admit, as much as I dislike Candace Owens, I will give her credit in this aspect that she's one sharp, sister. She's sharp as a damn tack. All right.
the flattening of cities like Dresden was widely condemned at the time, including by many people in Britain, and led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention.
Dresden was was the last month.
And he did what they tried to do, overtalk and change, the narrative when they're caught and exposed. He did exactly what, they do.
Of the war, but before that, Hamburg and everything else was not condemned.
It led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention after World War II, specifically to stop that kind of thing happening again.
Right, so the Geneva Convention actually came as a result of the very act that this imposter, was bragging about. Okay?
I'm glad you raised that example. Candace, you've got over 3 minutes.
Do you condemn Winston Churchill as a war criminal for Dresden?
No, absolutely not. No.
Why not? You just said that it was wrong.
I was actually going to say
Churchill as a war criminal for Dresden?
Well,
please, you said not, but why?
If you're both going to answer the same question, let me be clear. Winston Churchill was not a war criminal, right? But some of the ways that
Why not? He bombed Dresden and killed 25,000 people.
Yeah, he also saved the world from Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Oh, he saved the world. So Israel's saving the Middle East from Hamas, Islamic Jihad.
Western Asia. All right? It is not the Middle East. That's a title that they came up with. It is and always will be, or it has been Western Asia until these people, change the name to fit their narrative.
Jihad, Iran,
but it's not though.
Hezbollah.
Israel's not doing that.
Thank you for answering my question.
Well,
case closed.
All right, let me go to Candace.
If I could just interject here. Our show is not...
Two words that you will not find in the Bible: Europe and Middle East. All right, that's some shit that they made up to control the narrative, to try to control, racial aspects of things.
Necessarily a fan of Candace Owens, but it's hard not to be impressed by her rigorous defense of the truth, especially when she's up against such entrenched narratives. Owens' method of discourse is unique in its depth. She doesn't just scratch the surface of an issue, she dives in, drawing on analogies that challenge even the most widely accepted justifications.
Now, the men of the Lord have been doing this for the last 16, 17 years, damn near, on the YouTube, but, but we just get, called a hate group, and and get slapped with the anti-semantics, and then they just remove our videos. All right, because from the apostle elders, the elder bishops, on down, we've done far more work as far as exposing truth in the most clever and spiritual manners the world has ever seen, which is why they hate us so. Far above anything that Candace Owens has ever done or said. All right? Just wanted to throw that out there.
One of the most compelling points she made in this debate was her comparison of Israel's territorial claims to a hypothetical resurgent Native American population, reclaiming large swaths of US land like Texas and New York.
Well, the scriptures say, but see, here's the problem though. The Native Americans, this really was their land, but also the land of Israel is where they actually came from the east. So there is no comparison, because the difference being is that these people, like the rabbi they didn't come from the land of Israel. They came from Eastern Europe, all right, Eastern Asia, after it was taken over by Alexander. That being the difference, and we're gonna bring up some scripture to fulfill that. To solidify that, and it's just not me saying it. I'm gonna actually going to speak about a little bit of history and scripture that anyone can go read and look up for themselves. All right. So this Owens versus Rabbi, Shumi was a pretty hot thing, and it's still kind of hot. It's still a hot topic right now.
A thought-provoking analogy that pushes against the simplistic narratives often used to justify Israel's occupation of Palestine. It brings the whole concept of historical entitlement into question, highlighting how absurd such a claim would be if applied elsewhere.
Because what that comes down to, they don't want Esau, Edom, collectively as a people, do not want to be responsible for what they've done, and that they've got ill-gotten gains. They've got, that they, let me get this, that they got riches through by injury, deceit, and murder. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes or Sirach 10:8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So through injuries, deceit, murder, rape, robbery, theft, land theft, heritage theft, so-called Caucasians, so-called white people got America, Australia, the portion of Asia that they now call Europe, the portion of Asia that they now call the Middle East, the portion of America, all of America, from North, South, and Central America, because even down in South America, even though, you still have the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Spanish-speaking people of the land, natives of the land that now speak Spanish, or Portuguese, because forced upon them by the edge of the sword. But when you look in the governments and the heads of all the countries where they are down there, they're either ran by Edomites, or Edomites is set up, they're puppets, people that they can control in those countries. So it's not like they actually have control over their own countries. All right, so truly, he has used his sword. He said, by the sword thou shalt live, the earth is given unto his hands. You can't get around these facts, around these biblical prophecies. All right. And they try to use political science and, all these other things. And it's failed, because now Candace is going to feel the pressure. We'll see how long she keeps up this battle. And if she, because now she's been demonetized and all her money is cut off. All right, so we'll see how long she before I say give her 3-4 weeks and she'll be apologizing and saying she's sorry. All right, which will be a great victory for these people, these imposters.
Comparison obliterates the rationale that many European settlers have used to control Palestinian lands for over 7 decades. Owens essentially argues that if every ethnic group attempted to reclaim lands their ancestors once inhabited, the entire world would be in chaos.
Yeah, and it would. But, but that would also mean that all, so-called white people would have to give up all that they have, because they basically stole the world. But and it was given unto them. The Lord set them up. All right? The Lord set them up, but he also set them up to fail and be exposed in the end. All right? So we'll play this last 3 minutes of this video of Kim Iverson, and then we'll hit the scriptures and wrap this one up.
Well, it looks like it's Slaughterhouse 5 on YouTube. I don't know what is going on or exactly why people are being demonetized or ripped off of YouTube. But YouTube has been at this, and it's not just Candace Owens who said today, or actually yesterday, she announced that she has been demonetized from her YouTube channel, that she is not going to be able to make any more money. She received 3 strikes right in a row. So her channel had no strikes previously. Suddenly she's getting 3 strikes right in a row.
And why is that? You know what? Let's bring these scriptures out. I was going to try to wait, but the fire's on me. Why? Because she called them out. All right. Isaiah 5:20. All right. She actually used this scripture in the debate, but I'm going to read all the way to 23. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, and put darkness for light and light for darkness. They put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." And that's what, Rabbi Shumi and his people have been doing. "Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, to take away the righteous of righteousness from him." So, these people do anything for wealth and power, and they don't, and step around what's good and what's right and do what's evil to empower themselves. All right. And what he's angry about is that shameful spewing is upon their glory. This is Habakkuk 2 and 14. And it reads, "For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea." So the truth about the Lord, the truth about who the Israelites really are, well, that's on the table now. All right? Which is why all this is happening, because of the controversy of Zion. It says, "Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and puttest thy bottle to him, that maketh him drunken also, that thou may look upon his nakedness." So, and who's that? That was Esau, Edom, by giving people all this pseudoscience and false philosophies that they hold on to. And then when you point out the fact that, wait, the sky is actually up and not down. The sky is actually blue and not green, and if they broadcast that the sky is green and you say it's blue, well, you're going to get called a conspiracy theorist or slapped with the antisemantic charge. All right. "Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou now also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered, and let the cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory." Well, the shameful spewing is upon their glory, and the right hand is allowing judgment is falling on Edomites worldwide, all over the place, including the JOOs. All right, all sorts of things are happening to them, and the shameful spewing upon their glory. They're mad and angry about their about their unrighteous dealings, how they got their wealth and their riches coming out. All right, because they wrote in their history books like they were the heroes, that they were coming and bringing you God, and they will bring you the edge of a sword and stealing your resources in your land and making themselves rich, and enslaving you. All right, buying and selling you, taking your heritage. This is how they got what they got, and they're angry that they're now being called out for it. They don't like it. Okay. Why? Because of the controversy. All this is being done because of the controversy of Zion. All right. So let's let her speak a little bit more. I got a few more scriptures.
And now she is permanently demonetized from YouTube. Not only that, but she's not even allowed to post for the next week. Then they'll allow her to post, but my understanding is she'll never be able to make money. She has been taken out of the partner program, and she can reapply in 90 days to potentially see if they'll reconsider monetizing her channel, which is that never happens. I don't know of anybody who's ever received their monetization back after 90 days. So she has been fully demonetized from YouTube. 3 strikes in a row. Not sure exactly. It seemed like it was the Kanye West interview that she did. She did end up posting that onto Twitter today, so you can watch that interview. But apparently that is what got her the strike. But 3 strikes for that one video seems a little bit odd. Seems like maybe they would have hit her on other things. But they're clearly going after her for anti-Semitism, right? That's what they're claiming. They're saying that she's an anti-Semite. And by the way, I want to point out that that is coming from the right. That is...
Candace Owens is actually Shemitic, all right? What's hateful and racist, you know, according to their definition of racist, is referring to her as black. She's clearly brown complexion. And Candace Owens is actually an Israelite. By calling, you know, the so-called African Americans, the people that came over here on the slave ships, they're very well aware that those people were not from Africa, that they were a different dark race of people, which is why they were targeted, and they settled along the west coast of Africa, that they originally came from the land of Israel. All right, and it's prophecy, you know, and that they were going to slave ships. That's Deuteronomy 28th chapter, all right, especially the last verse, especially, all right, that they were going to Egypt in the house of bondage into slavery with ships. That never happened to, you know, to Rabbi Shumai and his people. As a matter of fact, his people owned the slave ships. Facts. All right. So to, you know, and so this covered up and hidden history has been hidden for so long, and now the Hebrew Israelites brought it out, and you know, they label it hate and conspiracy, or you get slapped with the anti-semantics. All right, and what's happening is just they're pumping, you know, they're being brought down. Let's go to Isaiah 14 and 11, and it reads, "Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, and the worm is spread under thee, and worms cover thee." And worms are associated with death. So death is upon Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Death is upon his political, his monetary systems. All right, death is covering him. Okay, verse 12. "How have thou fallen from heaven," which means rulership, "O Lucifer, son of the morning." Lucifer means light bearer. All right, in this scripture. Just like heaven means rulership in this scripture. "How thou cut down to the ground, who didst weaken the nations." All right. Well, how they weaken the nations with their philosophies. Well, you know, creating this whole false narrative for blackness and whiteness, and you know, the whole Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid thing. They you know, that pseudoscience that they married, you know, and they took that pseudoscience and made it Ham, Shem, and Japheth. All right, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were all so-called, you know, look like Candace Owens, just like the, you know, the heavenly beings. I just did a video about that, the sardine and the jasper. The Lord and the heavenly individuals are described as looking like a sardine or jasper stone. That's kind of like Candace Owens' skin complexion. All right, that brownish red, you know, from much darker to her than to much lighter than her. All right, with woolly hair. Okay. Isaiah 14:14. "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." This is exactly what Esau, Edom has done. "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell," meaning the ground, "to the sides of the pit. And they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying," and here's the key scripture, "Is this the man?" What was the subject matter? Lucifer, the light bearer. They'll say Lucifer is Satan. Satan, meaning adversary, the human adversary, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He is being brought down. All right. And it said, saying that, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms? He did shake kingdoms from the time of Alexander marching to when he dropped Fat Boy and Little Man. All right. And now he's being exposed. Why? Well, because of the controversy of Zion. Let's go to Isaiah 34 and 8. And it reads, for this is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. That's why the Lord is doing this. All right. He tells you, a matter of fact, in first Isaiah 34 and 5, it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom, which is in Edom is Esau. Edom is the so-called white man, the Caucasians today. The people who call themselves, J-ish, the small hats, Shumli and his people. And upon the people of my curse to judgment. So judgment is upon them. They're being exposed and they don't like it. It tells you in Ezekiel 36 and 5 that, Edom, well, let me just read it and I'll finish with that one. Ezekiel 36:5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, power surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, all right, and against all Idumea. So all those other heathen that were in that Psalms 83, that were in that group of heathen who helped, who made the tumult, the enemies of the Lord, the enemies of God, the enemies of the Israelites that hid their heritage, all right, they became the hidden ones, called Negroes, Latinos, natives, and whatever, and called by these futuristic made up names that they gave the nations, because remember the Israelites are scattered among all people. Okay, it said, I spoke against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. The small hats, the Idumeans, the Edomites, appointed the Holy Land into their possession. And then it says, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. And they'll go into the Bible, into prophecy, but they duck and dodge this prophecy all day long. From the Talmud worshippers, Judaism, to the apologetics. They duck and dodge this prophecy. This is an end day prophecy, which and the Lord returns to a world ruled by Esau, Edom, and Esau, Edom has appointed the Holy Land into their hands, and the Lord is going to wipe them out of there, just like the scripture says. So with that, all praise, all honor and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.